Hello and welcome to this new lecture on the lattice-Boltzmann method. So in this lecture I will talk about lattice gas models, which were the precursor to the modern day lattice-Boltzmann method. So the lattice gas models were first introduced in 1973 by three researchers by the name Hardy, Pomeo and Di Pazzi, and these models were then given the name HPP after these people who developed the first variant. And this is actually a very simple model of 2D gas dynamics in the way that if you look at this figure here, it basically talks about that the gas or the system that we work with is a two-dimensional body or two-dimensional system where the fluid is actually probed at discrete locations, so which are what we call as lattices or grid points. And what we assume here is that a fictitious fluid, this fictitious fluid, it actually is in the form of particles which exist on a square lattice. So these 2D particles exist on a square lattice, very much like you can think of it like a billiards game. Okay, and at each point, so let's say if I'm at this point, then each particle has only four possible velocities by which it can be taken to the next or to the neighboring node in one time step. So what I mean by that is that if a particle is here, it can have either of 1, 2, 3 or 4, only 4 possible directions or velocities in which it will move, and it will in one time step, which will mean, let's say, in one delta t, it will actually go only this distance. It cannot move any more than this distance. And remember, I said in LBM the lattices is of a uniform type, so that delta x is the same as delta y, and so the balls you can think of, the billiard balls in this way, can actually only move, let's say if it's moving in let's say this direction, then in one time step it will actually go from this point to this point. Okay, now while these balls move, they can also collide. So at each point you can have only 4 possible directions, but also you can have, so at this point, let's say you have one ball moving in this direction, in this part, at this node you'll have one ball moving in that direction. So these balls can actually collide and exchange momentum. Okay, so but the collision of this type that I'm talking about, this collision happens in such a way that it conserves mass and momentum. So mass would basically mean that the balls cannot disappear, or the total number of balls will not disappear, and momentum at a given node, by the way, and momentum will mean that the net momentum of this collision process is conserved. Now this four velocity model was actually extended by an extension was proposed by Frisch, Haslacher and Pomeo in 1986, and this extension was specifically done to be able to model any fluid. Okay, so we had started with gas dynamics only, now we are dealing with fluid of any general type. So what the three researchers, or what Frisch, Haslacher and Pomeo did was that they brought a triangular lattice into the picture, and the triangular lattice looked something like this here, as is shown. So you have pardon my drawing for that, because although the angles are supposed to be equal, so you have this hexagonal structure which is created at each point. So let's say at this point you will have a hexagonal lattice, and so at each point now you can have not just 4 but actually 6 possible directions. So you can have the particle moving in one of these 6 directions. So there are 6 possibilities now. So this I'm going to call as vector Ci, and I'll tell you why I'm calling Ci. So Ci is essentially the discrete counterpart of xi I. Okay, so the microscopic velocity is now being replaced by a discrete velocity. So what we are doing here is that instead of saying the assumption that we have now made to simplify or to be able to solve the Boltzmann equation in these lattice gas models was that the particle can only move along 6 directions. Let's say in this case it can only move along these 6 directions, and it can only have velocities in these 6 directions. It cannot have any other velocity. So that is basically reducing the complexity from infinite number of velocities to 6 velocities. And the other assumption that we are making here is that all 6 velocities are of equal magnitude. Okay, so that is the assumption, and that is the simplification that has been made to simplify the mathematics in the original lattice gas model. So what are the principles of this model? If I had to write down, I can now write the principles of the FHP model. Okay, first is that you can have only one or up to one particle of a certain velocity at a node at any time. So only one particle of a certain velocity can be present at a node at any time. So what it means is that at that given node, let's say if I look at this node, that only one particle can be present which will be moving along this direction. So only one ball, you can think, will move around this direction. You cannot have two balls moving in that direction. And the second principle is that now, because we are solving for some kind of distribution, remember probability. So whether or not a particle of velocity of a given velocity exists at a point is expressed by the occupation number. So we define the occupation number, which I'm going to say is let's say Ni x comma t, where basically I denotes the direction Ci. So I, for example, can be, if I label it here for your convenience, let's say this is C1 vector, C2, C3, C4, C5 and C6. Okay, so what if I'm saying the occupation number for, let's say, C1, that would mean N1. Okay, N1 at that location at that time t. And finally, N has a very special meaning here. So N, which is the variable that is a counterpart for the probability distribution function in the lattice Boltzmann method, this is actually a Boolean variable. Okay, so if it's a, what I mean by Boolean variable is that Ni can only take values which are either 0 or 1. It cannot take, I should not even say belong, by the way. So Ni is actually either 0 or 1. Okay, 0 would mean that the particle along that direction is absent. 1 would mean that the particle along that direction is present. So we have absence or presence of that particle with that momentum. Now, more importantly, this variable Ni can be used to calculate the macroscopic variables. So for example, if I do Ni, summation of Ni over all velocities at a given point x, so and multiplied by a factor, that will give me the density at that point. Okay, here m is the mass of each particle, and we assume each particle, all particles to have equal mass, and v naught is actually the volume occupied by the node. So that is essentially the volume covered by a specific node, which would become the area around that node. Okay, so this will give me the density, and similarly Ni xt into the velocity Ci into the same factor, sum over all directions. Okay, when I sum over I, that means I'm summing over all directions. That will give me the momentum flux at that point. Now this is how we can actually obtain through this game of billiards, or through this game of billiards or pool, whatever you want to say it, through this game we can actually determine some macroscopic variables. But then we need to look at the evolution equation, or the evolution of this variable. Okay, and the evolution happens through two steps. The first step is what we will call as a collision step, and this terminology remains the same irrespective of whether it's lattice gas models or lattice Boltzmann method. So the collision step is essentially updating the value of the excuse me, occupation number. So we'll have Ni, an updated value will be Ni, which is the old value, plus the collision operator at that point, so x comma t. So this one I will call as the post collision occupation number, and omega I is our collision operator, but a special one for the lattice gas models. Okay, now omega I can actually take very specific values because we are working with Boolean operations. So omega I can only take values such as -1, 0 or 1, and by taking these values, the collision operator is redistributing particles at a node, so it's redistributing balls along directions. So -1 here would mean that you are annihilating the specific particle along a specific direction. 0 would mean that there is no action or no change, and 1 will mean that you have a particle getting created. And this I hope is easy to see, because if you think of it this way, that if the original occupation number was 0 and you have omega I at that along direction is 1, then what you're doing is you're creating a particle. Ni star would become 1 along a given direction, so you have created a particle. If Ni in original was, let's say, 0, or was rather, let's say, -1, and omega I becomes sort of 1, so essentially you now are counteracting, so if Ni was actually let's say 1, then omega I definitely cannot be 1, because you will add up the two particles, and that operation is not allowed. You cannot have Ni to be anything other than 0 or 1. So in case Ni is 1, omega I can only take values of -1 and 0. In case Ni is 0, omega I can only take values of 0 and 1, again because it cannot be, Ni cannot be negative. Okay, now for mass and momentum conservation, Ni also omega I also has to follow one other constraint, and the constraint is that for mass conservation at a given node, summation omega I at that given location summed over all positions or summed over all directions. So this should be equal to, you guessed correctly, it should be 0, so that no mass is created or destroyed. And for momentum conservation, Ci omega I at any x comma t should be 0. Okay, so till now I've only looked at the theoretical aspect of the lattice gas models. Now let me show you pictorially how this will work. Okay, so let's talk about some possible resolutions of collision. So let's say we have the first case where we have a head-on collision between two particles. Okay, so let's say at the given node, which is, this is my node, let's say we have two particles which are moving towards each other. So we have one particle that is moving in this direction, the other particle is moving in this direction, and they're going to collide at that point. So this color will actually denote before collision, and let's say let me choose a different color, let me say blue will denote after collision. Okay, so what can happen after the collision? So before collision they are moving towards each other. After collision, now we can have multiple outcomes, because remember at this point if you look at only two balls moving towards each other, that would mean, and that basically means other occupation numbers are 0. So now what would happen is that the outcome should be one in which you get net 0 momentum. So you can have two outcomes, let me say in this case, which I'm going to draw. So one outcome could be that you have one particle that moves along that direction, the other particle moves along that direction, leading to a 0 net momentum. Okay, the other case could be, let me choose slightly different color here to denote, let's say this is also after. This is the two possibilities. The other case could be that one particle moves along that direction, the other particle moves along that direction. In either case, the mass is conserved, the momentum is conserved, because in either case at this point you had total number of balls coming towards the node was 2, total number of balls leaving the node is also 2. Okay, let's look at a second case when you can have a 3 particle collision, and this is where things get slightly interesting now. Okay, so let's say at this node, okay, we have one particle moving along this direction, let's say one moving along this direction and one moving along that direction. Okay, now what can be the outcome? So going back to the blue color again, so if you see carefully here, 3 particles are coming, so we'll have 3 possibilities. Let me show you one possibility, and I think the other ones you can guess easily. So one possibility could be that one particle goes along here, the other particle goes along here, the third particle goes along there. Okay, pardon the length of my arrows, that is, I'm trying to show them to be of equal length. Okay, so that could be one possibility, and you can now verify that the net momentum is still, the original momentum was 0 and the final momentum is also 0. Okay, now let me look at a different type of 3 particle collision. let's say that the initial condition or the particles moving toward that node, let's say this node, they were moving along, one moves along this, let's say other moves along this, and the third moves along this. So here the resolution could be that one moves along this after the collision, okay, and the other two move along equal and opposite directions, in which case again the net mass and net momentum are conserved. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is that net mass and momentum are conserved. Okay, now of course I have not shown you the complete thing because we are not going to spend so much time on lattice gas models, but which collisions are allowed and what would be the resolution of those collisions in terms of possible directions. Now that depends on the variant of the lattice gas model. Okay, and there are different variants, each has its own set of rules for the collisions, that the type of collisions that can be allowed and the type of outcomes that are typically considered. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that aspect, but I want to illustrate this for a simple reason, that this has a lot of ideas which are common to the lattice-Boltzmann method, and so maybe some of this Boolean mathematics will actually make some sense when we develop the lattice-Boltzmann method. Now the other step, remember I said it's a two-step process. The first step is essentially collision. The second step is a streaming step. And this is again a terminology that is going to be used in LBM as well. Now the streaming step basically is that once the collisions have been done and the particles are now ready to move out from a given node. So for example, at this point, right, we have three particles coming in, they collide, and they're ready to move out. So now these particles have to be propagated, so they go from their current node to the neighboring node in the direction of their velocity, but in such a way that they move only one node in one time step. So they move, for example, in one time step, this particle which is moving in that direction will go from this point to this point, so that at next time step now it will have a collision here with the incoming distribution at this point. And similarly, this particle that goes out will reach here, where it would maybe have collisions with the distributions coming in at that point. Okay, so the important thing to note here is that particles propagate in such a way that they move exactly one node in one time step, which brings me to address the velocities. So if I say that the distance between, let's say, two nodes, for just, I don't want to confuse with the coordinate system, but let's say this distance is delta x, okay, then the velocity magnitude allowed is going to be precisely delta x by delta t, so that when they move along any direction with the velocity ci, they will move one lattice node. So delta x is the distance that they will travel. So to show you what the streaming operation would look like, okay, let me choose one more figure. Okay, so let's look at this one. Let's say we have pre-collision certain conditions. Okay, so pre-collision, rather post-collision, let's say we have one node here, or rather one velocity here, one velocity here. Let's say one velocity is there, and we can have bunch of velocities now that I can label. So one is here, I don't know, let's say one is there, one is there, So let's say this one is here, this one is here, this is here, let's say this is there. So let's say this is the picture right after the collision step. So when you do the propagation will take, for instance, if I say this one, it will come here, okay, the next one will go there, which is this one, okay, this one will actually go there, then we'll have something coming here, one going there, this one coming here, this one coming here, one going there, there is one coming here, and this one comes here, one comes here, and let's see if I've missed anything. I hope I haven't. We can count actually. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Yeah, so you consider all the cases. Okay, so this would be the picture after the completion of the time step. So I can say that these values now, the pink ones are at time t after collision, and the blue ones are at time t plus delta t after streaming, or sometimes which is also called as a propagation step. Okay, alright, so I will stop here for the lattice gas models. I don't want to spend any more time discussing this aspect, and in the next lecture we'll look at another critical aspect of or we'll keep moving in our journey towards the development of the lattice Boltzmann method. So thank you for listening, and see you next time.